Hi, it's Tori. So today, right now here, we're driving on the Sunset Strip, on the famous Sunset Strip here in Los Angeles. And I thought I was going to share something really important with you about wealth. What is the real meaning of wealth? What does genuine wealth really mean? And a couple of thoughts around that, because, you know, I've spoken to you about unconditional love and what that really means and how important it is. And if you think about genuine wealth, it really means well-being, the original word, well-being. So if we look at that, what it really means, I look at different areas of life, and I look at, you know, your health, your money, your relationships, your spirituality, all the different areas of life, you know, your social skills, anything that has to do with your life, productivity, time. There's all different areas of life and your wealth. But today I want to talk about something that's important to your wealth, and that's your self-worth. Because when you don't have, or when you have a low self-worth, you're minimizing yourself. And when you're minimizing yourself and you have a low self-worth, you have a tendency to not be able to, if you hear the sound in the back, is my boys here. I'm not alone in the car here. But I wanted to share with you that your self-worth will impact the money you make. It will impact the kind of relationships you will have, the things that you will say yes to and no to in life. It will impact the way you take care of your body. It will impact how you use your time. So the biggest hurdle, the biggest cost to people's income and their money-making abilities is really having a low self-worth, which comes down to guilt and shame. So guilt and shame is something that's been taught to us. We've learned to feel guilt. We've learned to feel shame. And guilt and shame has a tendency to do one or two things, or both of them. One is that you won't value and charge what you're worth. You won't really, you feel guilty to provide some value, service to people when you sell things. So how do we shift the level of your self-worth? Well, one of the things that we can do in the exercise that I want to give you today is that I want you to write down everything that you feel guilt and shame about. What are the things that you feel, that mistakes that you made, or people that have blamed you, or given you guilt trips? I spoke to a friend the other day, and he was saying, we were talking about this, and he said, my mom, she put a lot of, she made me responsible to care for her and to, be there for her because my dad wasn't there. And, when my brothers came, I still was responsible to make her happy. And so I asked him, so what happened when you didn't do what she wanted you to do, when she wasn't pressing with you? Then what happened? And he said, well, I guess she gave me guilt trips. She made me feel guilty, made me feel like I was disappointing her. So I want you to write down everything you can imagine from the time you can remember up until the day that you feel guilt and shame about. Once you've written everything that you feel guilt and shame about, I want you to realize that all those things were taught to you based upon other people's values that they injected into your life. Basically, they said, this is what I believe, this is what you should do, this is important, and then you took their values and you made them your values, even though they were not. So write down number one, write down all the guilt and shame you have. After you've done that, next to all the things that you've written down your guilt and shame about, I want you to write down what were the benefits to you and to the people involved to that action or inaction, or that thing that you were doing, the situation. I want you to write down how it served you and how it served other people. And when people say that, people are like, well, there was no benefit to that. Yes, it was. And I'll give you an example. I had a woman that I spoke to the other day. She said, I noticed that I reject my husband, and when I reject him, when he wants to have sex with me, I feel guilty and I feel ashamed about it, and he gets mad at me. So I asked her, so what's the benefit of that? What's the benefit of rejecting him? And so she didn't see that first, and then she realized that it was a benefit to her in the way that she didn't have to feel used by him. She didn't have to feel that she was saying yes to something that she didn't want to. She didn't have to feel like she was minimizing herself. A lot of benefits to her in rejecting him. But for him, what are the benefits for him?